The Flash issue 759 sees the Reverse Flash possessed Barry helping out the people of Central City, saying he's doing all of the things the old Barry never did and he's going to be the Flash he should have been. In New Mexico, Young Justice are hanging out when suddenly Impulse realizes that time has stopped as Flash arrives, saying his game was stopped since his friends can't keep up with him. Bart meets with his grandpa, saying that he's been meaning to meet with him but he's been a little busy. Barry decides to make up for lost time, wanting to team up with the boy, telling him his friends won't even know he's gone. The speedsters race back home as in the void, Barry confronts the zombies of Max Mercury and Jesse Quick, feeling like he knows them. They say that they have been trapped there for years as soon Barry begins to fade from existence. The zombies tell him to hold on and not lose himself, grabbing at him and pulling him back into the void, allowing him to remember the speedsters who return to life. Barry asks about Jesse's father, learning that he passed away before the Flashpoint, but he's still there in spirit with them. She asks how Barry found them, learning that Eobard Thawne is using his vibrational frequency to take over Barry's body. Max says that Thawne always tried to be like Barry, so he found a way to make it literal, it seems. Barry reveals that he also gathered the rogues to destroy his life and used them to trap him in the Speed Force. Max says that they aren't necessarily trapped in the Speed Force, since it doesn't just connect on a physical and mental level, but something much deeper, something Wally knows all about since he went through something similar, since he too was lost and needed to find his way back. Max says that if Barry has ever used his Speed Force in his mind, and Barry says he has, calling it speed thinking, an ability he can do in the void, and it could give them a chance to escape. He reaches out with his mind, seeing Eobard has found Impulse, whom Barry only just reunited with recently in Metropolis. Max knows they need to get Barry back in control of himself, and the three speedsters together should be enough to allow Barry to regain his body. But first he needs to teach Barry everything he knows about the Speed Force. In Central City, the rogues rob a bank, attacking the cops who thought Cold and Glider skipped town after Flash defeated them and Trickster was in the new Iron Heights. Trickster finds the robbery the kind of fun that he's been waiting for as the Flash and Impulse arrive. Glider knows who Flash really is now, but Cold attacks the speedsters. Barry wrestles control from Thawne for a brief moment, telling Bart to run, but the boy says he is, saving the officers as Eobard rights his head. Trickster throws one of his bombs at Flash, but the speedster quickly throws it back, causing it to explode on James. Bart is shocked at what Barry has done, but the Flash says that he will take him to Iron Heights, despite Bart wanting to take him to a hospital since the man is hurt. Barry is not impressed that Bart feels bad for the rogue, and it doesn't seem very heroic. He thinks maybe he was wrong about the young hero and he's not Flash family material at all. He wants the boy to explain to him since he went back to being Impulse, so what's next for him? Since heaven forbid he becomes the Flash again, since they all know what happened last time that happened. He tells the boy to go back to his friends, speeding off and telling him to leave the Flash business to him. Grodd meanwhile demands to know where Thawne is, but the Tornado Twins tell him to be patient since the uncle knows what he's doing. Cold and Glider return, saying that Thawne is off playing Flash as the villain returns, angrily telling the rogues that he ordered them to stay put. Grodd says that he doesn't take orders from him since he has much to answer for, like how possessing the Flash helps them. Eobard says that Barry is fighting control and the possession isn't fully locked in yet, so the villains need to retrieve some items for him so he can stay in the body forever, and if the villains gather the items for him, he will give them all keys to their futures. In Blue Valley, at the West family vacation home, Iris, Wallace and Avery wait out Eobard's attacks. Wallace says that they can't just stand around and do nothing, but Avery reminds him that they need to keep Iris safe. Suddenly Barry arrives, saying that he's very proud of them both. Iris rushes outside, wondering how the hero found them, and after a moment Barry reminds Iris that he's her lightning rod. He reassures them that he took care of Thawne, but the heroes want to know about the Legion of Zoom. Barry asks why they are questioning him, since he knows exactly where Eobard's team is headed, and why don't the three of them all go and team up and show them that the Flash family means business. Impulse suddenly arrives, smashing Barry in the face, saying that he's mean, and Barry Allen isn't mean. He knows Barry might be quiet or distant or awkward, but he's never been mean in his life, which means the man in front of him is not Barry Allen. Wallace and Avery confront Impulse, demanding to know who he is. Bart asks who Wallace is, learning he's Kid Flash now. Barry recovers from being blasted into a tree, knowing he should have killed the kid. Iris soon recognizes Bart, who says he was meant to come see her, but he's been busy with Young Justice. But also he was scared since so much in the world has changed and he was worried his grandmother wouldn't recognize him. Iris says that after all of the adventures and stress he caused her, her, of course she remembers Bart Allen. Bart asks if Wally will help them, but Barry says that Wally won't be joining them, and he's glad, since the whole concept of the Flash family was more of a Wally thing and he doesn't need to worry about him now. He knows that Barry never figured out that he never needed a family since they just slow him down. Iris knows that Bart was right and the Barry in front of them isn't the real Barry, since Eobard tried this all before with Wally and even on her wedding day. Barry doesn't want the history lessons since he knows all of their futures and how they all end, but wonders if he should help speed things up, since his modus operandi is to help people die before their time. Suddenly, the first Flash, Jay Garrick, appears, telling the Eobard possessed Barry to get away from the kids. The Flash issue 759 begun Joshua Williamson's final Flash story as Eobard enacts his grand plan to literally become Flash. I love that at first Eobard is just kind of doing what he's always wanted to do, and that is obviously become Flash, saving people and fighting the rogues, but his evil starts to sort of begin to come through as he tries to kill Trickster in front of Impulse. Jesse Quick and Max Mercury making a return is loads of fun, and I really hope they end up coming back to life at the end of this arc and we get to see a little bit more of them. The one thing I kind of thought should have been a bit different in this issue is instead of Impulse realizing that Barry isn't Barry, it should have really been Iris, since it could have built off all of the stuff Williamson developed with them sort of reigniting their relationship and traveling the world for these forces and everything, and the whole lightning rod thing which actually gets a mention here. It would have been better if it was that, but I did like how it sort of unfolded in front of us. All in all, it was a great beginning to the end, and I'm looking forward to the race to the finish line. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.